My name is Bryce Wells, and this is my persuasive speech. The concept of fighting has always entertained us as we were children, or at least most of us. Imagine seeing legendary boxers like Muhammad Ali beating Joe Frazier and George Foreman, or seeing Mike Tyson obliterate his opponents left and right. Not just these legendary boxers, but boxing itself has existed for hundreds of years. And even if you are not a fan of the sport, you probably saw at least parts of one fight. However, there's one sport that is actually similar to boxing, but has been looked down by many, including those in the boxing community. That sport is mixed martial arts, and a company that is most famous for it, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I'm sure that most people have seen the ads of upcoming UFC fights and how bloody and violent the product is presented. Now, of course, you probably wouldn't want any of your young children to see this, but should this be considered barbaric? Let's start at the beginning. The concept of mixed martial arts has been popularized by video game series like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, where each character has their own unique fighting ability. This concept is also brought in movies like Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. The concept of this was brought to life when Art Davie proposed it to the Gracie family, who developed their own version of Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or BJJ. And they wanted to showcase this fighting style to the whole world. The first UFC event took place on November 12, 1993. It was a single 8-man tournament, with the only rules being that you cannot climb or try to escape the cage, and you cannot fishhook your opponents. The event proved to be as brutal as it implied, with one fighter knocking out another's tooth and such. The first winner of this tournament was Royce Gracie, who would later on win the next few 8-man tournaments before the concept of weight classes and championships were created. Of course, after the first event, the reactions of many critics were split, with some enjoying the showcase of fighters fighting, but for most people, they called it a barbaric spectacle. One of the most vocal against the UFC was former Senator John McCain, who described the early days of the UFC as basically human chicken fighting. And he set out to either take down the UFC or try to reform it in a way. And pressure from both McCain and from state commissions who were making MMA illegal in their states put a lot of pressure on the young UFC and basically doomed the sport before it had a chance to actually shine. Fortunately for the UFC, as senior referee Big John McCarthy later developed the unified rules of MMA, which established the clear rules of each fight and how many rounds, what moves are allowed and which ones are not. And these rules have been applied to basically every single MMA organization across the world. However, at the topic at hand, should the UFC or MMA in general be considered barbaric? In my opinion, it is not barbaric, simply because it is human nature to fight each other. In fact, I'd even say, in my opinion, that MMA could be considered safer than boxing. I know it's hard to believe, but according to many doctors and even fighters, you're more likely to get severely injured in boxing with a concussion or an eye injury than in MMA. And according to many fighters, most of their severe injuries, career-ending injuries, happens not in the cage, but training in the gyms. I know people make the argument that UFC fights are more bloody due to the use of knees and elbows, but on the other hand, boxing, like your boxers, they're trading blows for blow, hitting each other multiple times in the head, in the chest, like kidneys, etc. Now, like, and if MMA is considered barbaric, then in my opinion, shouldn't we hold boxing in the same regard? Now, of course, it doesn't mean people should be fighting each other in bars or anything like that. But if it's held in a strictly professional and in a sanctioned environment with all the right people around observing, like of how it's going down, then in my opinion, there shouldn't be any sort of issue. Thank you.